Hey everybody, welcome back to another review of Married at First Sight. This is season 14, episode 15. As always, it's your boy Big James, the Big Eye himself. And let's get to it. This episode was boring. Nothing happened this episode, which I'm kind of excited about because it was nothing bad. There was nothing good. Nothing happened this episode. They wrote letters to their younger selves. They went back to some of their childhood homes, and they talked to Dr. Pepper, and they never got together, which I enjoy. And nothing happened. I think everybody, because I think decision day is 2 weeks away, and it seems like everybody has kind of made up their mind what they're going to say, and now they're just riding these last. I think this was I think they got 8 days. I think it said until decision day for them, so that's 1 week, a week and a day. So I think everybody's mind is made up, and no one's trying to figure out what to say. Nobody is a toss up. Well, I guess one couple's a toss up, but I ain't worried about it. This should be quick because nothing happened. Start with the first couple, Steve and Noi. Steve and Noi, they go. What do they do first? I know they go to Steve's home that he grew up in, and it's a typical home, typical stuff. They did something before that. I can't think of what it was. Yeah, must not have been too important. But they went to his place, and it was normal, you know. Noy seemed to be surprised that him and his brothers, it was three boys and one girl. The three boys shared a room, and the girl had her own room because she got just how it goes. And then Steve had a bear. He had like this little stuffed bear that he said, it was his childhood bear he played with. And then she called him immature because he had like a stuffed animal that he still, has memories of. And she was like, well, that's real immature of him that he still got a bear. I'm like, it's at his parents' house on the shelf. He's not carrying it around with him. It's not even at his place. He left it at home. So I think Noi, she was just, I don't know if she was jealous or upset because I guess because they didn't show her house. She lived, I guess she must have grew up somewhere else. And it seemed like she couldn't really get a grip on what type of person Steve was. And by them visiting his home, it was probably the best for him. For a lot of them, I think it was worked out good because it showed where his personality came from. He was a rapper. Didn't know that. He had wild parties in his basement. He said that people around here, they know him. And the thing was, they did his rap song. And I couldn't really tell what they were saying, but it seemed like his mom really enjoyed it. Steve was rapping along. He said when he was in high school, him and his friend would make beats and they would rap. And he said it was a local hit. Like people around the town would play his song. He would hear it on the radio and they would sell. He said he would burn CDs, handing them out. He was like a hustle man, putting his mixtape out, and people would listen to his radio, his music. And I guess that tripped Noy out. It tripped me the fuck out. But yeah, you can see just by him telling how he grew up and how his mom was, and you think how his parents were. He probably had a very free spirited, relaxed. I think his mom was a teacher. It was a lot of stuff. He was just like, yeah, just partying, hanging out. He was allowed to do. He said he could do every sport. He did. He was allowed to do whatever he wanted to try to find himself and what he enjoyed and what he liked. And here he is, you know, almost 40, and he still is like that way. He just likes to just try different things, do stuff, and move around. So that explained a lot to me about his behavior because it was something that he did as a child, and it was encouraged, and it worked out for him. He was able to earn money. He had a great childhood. He turned into a good adult. He's a great, fantastic guy because he's experienced so much. He's been through so much. He's done so much. And I think for Noy, though, I think that for her growing up, because in his letter, it just talked about good times. And her letter was about things not being so good. I think she grew up a lot worse, a lot poorer. Like Steve wasn't rich growing up, but he had a nice sized house. Both parents, they would work. He had a pretty much a perfect middle America life growing up. a TV in the suburb, like the suburban household you see on TV. That's what he kind of grew up as. Not poor, not rich, just in the middle, steady, stable, fun. And she was more on the poor end. So her in her letter, Steve said he understood that them being so poor, not having so much, is why she's looking to him for security, for stabilization, because her growing up was so unstable. And I thought that was cool. I think so. It explained both of them. The letters and the visiting the homes really explained both of them. But I think that they still are so far apart that it won't work. Dr. Pepper came. No, before that they went to a dance studio because Noi likes to dance. That's what she said, and Steve said it too. Like in her Instagram post, social media posts, she's always dancing. So they went to this dance studio to dance, and Steve dances better than her. And she said Steve was just like, he was popping, locking, and doing all the moves way better than she was. And I mean, this is what she does. And it's not what Steve does. But you can tell he's done it before. He's in good shape. He must work out because he was very limber. He could do all the stuff. And Noi was struggling to do what she apparently always does. And Steve was just a breeze and through what he never does. So he must have some kind of dance background. If he was rapping, he probably was dancing too, making music. I'm pretty sure he could keep a beat. Dr. Pepper came. What did she talk to them about? I can't even remember because they weren't arguing. I think it was just about, I can't remember. I can barely remember they're not arguing. They're so boring. I don't remember what Dr. Pepper talked to them about. I don't remember anything else about them. I don't know. I think they're going to both say no on decision day still because I think they just don't. They don't fit at all. They have two different outlooks and philosophies on life. There's no way they would ever work. She doesn't want to work, and he doesn't want to. He wants to work, but he doesn't want to work in an office. She wants to be a housewife. He wants to be a house husband. He likes passive income, and she likes active. Get off your ass and go work. That ain't gonna work for them. And I think she's just way too child. I think the social media thing, he's not talking about it, but I think it's still on him that she puts all their business on social media. They're not going to work. The next couple is, let's go to Michael and Jasmina. They're boring as fuck too. They go to where Jasmina grew up at, and she grew up in like a shed. That was a small house. Like I grew up poor in a small 2-bedroom house. That had to be 1 bedroom. It was tight. It looked like a shed. But I guess that was her house that she grew up in. So that was something. And she talks about, she remembers her dad, her and her sister, and how they have this one photo of him washing their hair. And you can see how much, oh my God, how long did she say he was with her before he left? Because both her parents left at different times. First her dad left. No, first her mom left. And then her dad remarried to her stepmom. And then her dad left. And she was adopted by her stepmom. She stayed with her stepmom. And she never talks about it. I think this was the first time Michael was even hearing about it. Was talking to her when she was talking about her house. And she went by the school she went to when she was growing up. She had all these good times, fun times at the school and all this stuff. And they showed pictures of her when she was young. She was a pretty little girl. But she also talks about how she just doesn't trust. I don't think she trusts men that much. Judging by how she talks about her dad and how she talks to Michael and how she was towards Michael in the beginning, she's not initially very trusting of dudes. That's the impression I got. Michael showed her where he was from. He talked to her about, that's what they did first. Michael was talking about, on the ride home from the cabin, he was talking to Jasmine about, the medium was talking to him about his brother. He thought he was talking to his mom or his dad or somebody. He ended up talking to his brother. through the media because the media told him, I know his brother got killed during road rage. He was shot. It was arguing. It was. He explained it far better than I am about why he felt more connected to his brother during the meeting than he did to anybody else. But that was the first time I heard him say or talk about his brother, how his one of his brothers was killed. It was in road rage. I know he said one of his brothers was shot. No, he said his brother was shot in the front. He was bleeding, and he was shot, and he died in the front yard. But I didn't know it was over road rage. The guy got pissed because he cut him off or something. That's tragic too. Shit. And he reads the letter to his younger self, and it was so hard. It was both of them. Jasmina and Michael's letters to their younger self was so difficult and so sad because they both had really rough childhoods. They went through a lot growing up. For Jasmina, it was just like it was being abandoned. And for Michael, it was like the people he loved just dying on him, just dying all around him. Like his mother died from cancer. I can't remember what happened to his dad. His brother was shot. So it was his letter talked about, your mom, how his mom beat cancer and they celebrated through the big party, but it came back and she didn't beat it this time. That's what happened to my mother too. She had cancer. She died of cancer too. She overdid it once, but the second time it got her. It spread and it got her. So I was very familiar with that because my mother died when I was 13 from cancer. The same circumstances he had. She had cancer. She beat it. It was all happy. It was good. It came back and it spread from her breast to her liver and to her brain. So there was no stopping it at that time. She passed away when I was just a wee boy. Well, not a wee boy. I was in middle school. So I know that feeling that he's going through about losing your mother, especially young. I think he said he was about, I can't remember what age he said he was. But I know that process of grief. But they were so, and it was telling that when she was reading her letter and going over the things that happened to her, like being abandoned and like people leaving her and all of that, and her trust issues. Michael reached out. He put his arm around her. He was trying to read because she was sad. She was crying. But when Michael was reading his, and he was very hurt, she showed no sympathy, no care, concern. She did. He needed a hug. He visibly, me sitting here, he needs a hug, and she didn't do that. She didn't show him any type of comfort. Later on, she's talking to Dr. Pepper, and it's the same issue. There's no attraction. She's not attracted to him. She has no feelings for him. There's nothing. He's not doing anything for her. And with them only having 8 days left, it's over with. It's a done deal. It's a wrap. So they're going to say no because Michael, I think he's feeling the same way too. If she doesn't have feelings for me by now, she's not going to develop them. So this is going to turn into nothing. And Jasmina, if she doesn't have feelings, she says she's going to say no. She doesn't have any feelings. So I'm looking at a no and a no for both of them. But they are such a cute couple, and I think everybody really likes to see them together because they are adorable, they are cute. And but the thing is, though, the only person making any accommodations is Michael. Jasmina has changed nothing. She's not doing anything different now than she was before. She's just not as hard. She's not as rude and mean as she was before. And Dr. Pepper said that. Michael said that, and she said that. Is that over time she's just now opening up and softening up. But she was so intense and hard and just really just on guard the first month with Michael, and Michael didn't know how to respond to that. He just didn't know what to do. And now that she's got more familiar with him, she sees that. I guess she sees he's not a threat, or he's not trying to hurt her, take advantage of her, or whatever. And now she's softened up. But so much time has passed that who knows? They see that they're really good friends, but they're supposed to be more than friends. And I think she's gonna say no because if she's not attracted to him, she's not attracted to him. That's the end of the day. That's just it. It doesn't matter how he feels or what he does. If she doesn't like him, she doesn't like him. I think she likes him. She just doesn't want to give him none. That's just it. She don't want to. She doesn't want to cross that line with him to any form of intimacy, and he doesn't have enough game or skills or maybe even desire to try to convince her to be with him. I think Michael is kind of burnt out because he's making all the concessions and she's not. And so I'm seeing no from both of them on decision day. The next couple is, let's go Katina and Olajuwon. Olajuwon doesn't want to be with Katina. That's it. They go to where Olajuwon grew up. He grew up in the projects. And he was talking about, how he played sports. He was a fat kid, and people ticked on him, teased him, and then he talked about how he grew up so rough, so hard. He had to fight all the time, and he had to be loud and aggressive all the time because that's just how it was. You just had to do that to make it so you didn't get picked on and jumped on and stuff like that. And he said that's why he is the way he is now. He don't like nobody playing with him, nobody trying to string him along, or he don't like people teasing him or lying on him. He doesn't like people playing with him. It was just all kind of bullshit. So he said he yells a lot. He's really aggressive. He's really in your face because that's how he just grew up. That's what he had to do. That's how he is. Bullshit. That's bullshit. I grew up in the hood and the projects too, and I don't go around screaming and yelling at people. I know a lot of people that grew up in the projects, grew up in the hood, and more often than not, they stay pretty much quiet until they get to the hood, until they can assess it. They don't start out loud and be in your face and all that shit. I've never heard nobody say anything like that. He's the first. So I don't put a lot of truth to that. I don't think there's any truth in that. I think he's just an asshole. He's trying to blame it on how he grew up. He grew up poor. Oh, I grew up poor. That's why I do all this shitty stuff. Like, no, you're a shitty person. That's why you do all this shitty stuff. I hate talking about him. They go to where Katina grew up. Now, they went to Katina's church. This is the church she grew up in. This is where she met all her friends at. Where she hung out at. She got a purity ring there. She had a purity ring. She wasn't rocking with that, so it didn't last. But she said, she did everything in the church. She said, God is like one of her friends. She just talks to him like he's there. And if she has kids, she wants kids to be raised in church. And Olajuwon looked like he was not interested in this conversation at all. He did say, he went to church all the time. If he had kids, he wants his kids in the church. But it seemed like he didn't really care about hearing about her life. And he said so much when he said that, he grew up one way, she grew up in a completely opposite way. She grew up in a steady home, lots of money, everything was available. She had this steady, stable life, and he didn't have that. So he was like, she's nothing like me. And Katina makes more sense to me now because she grew up in the church. That's probably why she puts up with all, because, church, she has to put her husband first. Humble herself and all this other shit, put up with all this bullshit, and that's what she's doing. There's no fucking way she should. There's no out. I feel so bad because whenever you see her, especially later, if you look at how she looked when the season started and you look at her now, you can tell she's had a rough go at it. It's been a rough month and a half for her. She can let that wig go. It's done. Baby, it's over with. You need to do something. Go natural. Because the wig has had it. She looks so tired. She got bags under her eyes. She's just not that excitement, that sparkle that she had for the wedding day and like the first week after it's gone. It's not there at all. They talk to Dr. Pepper. No, he talks to her and he's basically telling her that he would say no. He told her and Dr. Pepper that if he was in her shoes, he would say no decision day. Because she has 2 years left to get her bachelor's, and then she's going to go to nursing school. And she wants to have kids, and so she wants to do all this schooling and have kids at the same time. and she has to pay off these student loans she's getting. And he was like, you can't do all of that and raise kids at the same time. What you should do is say no decision day, say no to me, go and get your schooling locked down, and when you get done, I'll still be here. That's a fucking lie. He don't want her because he talks about it like he's not gonna do anything. He was like, she can't go to school, raise kids, pay those loans, and take care of the household and meet my needs. And I'm like, what the fuck are you doing? Like, what the fuck? What are you planning on doing? This is your wife, right? You're gonna do jack shit. You're not gonna help her around the house. You're not gonna help with the kids. You're not gonna help her with her loans. You're not gonna help her with her school. You're not doing anything. You're gonna do a fucking nothing and expect her to still do all of that and wait on you. And short-sighted. And short-sighted. Let me tell you why it's ignorant and short-sighted. She's going to school in order to earn more money. The more money they have, the better off they are as a couple. Paying off those student loans. If he doesn't want to do that, that's fine because the loans are in her name. But there is no reason why he can't do stuff around the house. There's no reason why he can't raise his own fucking kids. They're his children. You don't babysit your children. That's called raising them. And for him to have the attitude of, I'm not going to be involved in the raising of my own kids, if that ain't the reddest of red fucking flags, what is? How does that even work? I'm so sick of him. And the shit he says, it's so hard to talk about him, to listen to him. I don't know where he picked this shit up from. I don't know where. The better Katina is doing, the better they're doing as a family. He doesn't see that. This is what Olajuwon is going to do. He says, I want her to say no decision. He's probably going to say no to be doing her a favor or to be helping her out. He's going to say no. He should. He probably won't because he wants to keep torturing her ass. She's going to say yes because that's the good Christian wife thing to do. If he leaves, if they get divorced, him and Katina, the first thing he's going to do is he's going to use this damn TV show to find him some fucking IG model, some big booty white girl on Instagram that can't cook, don't clean, she got fake hair, fake titties, and a fake ass, and a damn GED. And he gonna love the shit out of her. Because all the requirements that Katina must meet, she ain't gonna have to meet. Because he's in a better position. He got the house. He got the job. He went to school. Oh, I'm this and that. You ain't did shit. He can lord that over her forever. Because she ain't got shit. But somebody with Katina that had a good upbringing, has a strong family, she's in school, she's determined to better herself and do. He can't handle that shit. He wants somebody that's subordinate, that just shuts up and does what he says. And that ain't Katina. So he's come up with this excuse to where, oh, I'm doing her a favor by saying no, or if she was smart, she'd say no. They not having sex? They're not very intimate at all. It's like all they do is argue. This is the dumbest. I hate talking about him. I'm done talking about him. I'm going to the next couple, Mark and Lindsay, and they are just as dumb. Mark and Lindsay, they've talked to Dr. Pepper. And she pisses me off because they keep acting like Mark is the problem. Nobody is telling Lindsay she needs to fucking stop. Except Mark. And I think Mark has gotten full-blown frustrated and sick of this shit. Lindsay's complaining in the beginning that Mark keeps telling her, I'm spitting, I'm so goddamn mad, that she's too much, or I'm too much to handle, or I'm too loving, I'm too caring. I'm too concerned. No, you're too annoying. You're too loud. You're too drunk. You're too fucked up. You're too all the negatives. She's saying she's too much of the good stuff. No, no, you're too awful. You're too rude. You're too disrespectful. You're too ignorant. That's what he means by too much. And everybody, all the experts, no matter who it is, they immediately side with Lindsay because she looks sad, pathetic, downtrodden, beaten. She looks like she's been just drugged by a fucking horse every time you see her. So they instantly feel sympathy for her when she is the problem. And Mark is just sick of it. He's done. But nobody's listening. Now, Lindsay, not Dr. Pepper, nobody's listening to how bad it is being with her. She flies off the handle. She can dish it out, but she can't take it. She's just rude and wrong. Mark's cat, JC, is sick. They have something on the cat's eye. They got like 2 lumps on the back. So they take it to the emergency vet, and they were like, "There's another lump on the cat's lungs, and it's getting bigger, and the cat's just in pain and suffering, so that it has to be put down." And I hated Lindsay for that. I hate it because Mark is sitting there, and it's so sad, man. It's so sad. Poor Mark. He just can't win, man. And Lindsay is just manhandling. Mark is sitting here gentle, holding the cat, but the cat's in pain. The cat is just so nonchalant and so resting with Mark. Lindsay just grabs it, throwing the motherfucker around, just rough handling the shit. And the cat is like, "Jesus, I'm fucking dying. Let me die. Don't kill me, shit." And Lindsay just, because she has to be involved. She has to be doing too much. If the cat is just laying there in Mark's hands, leave it the fuck. It ain't gotta be a certain way or turn this way or upside down or inside out. Put his head here. Like, just, if the cat is fine and Mark is fine, that's fine. So they kill the cat. They put it to sleep. Mark is hurt. He's devastated. He said he had the cat 14 years. Ooh. He said the cat's been through all relationships, through several apartments, through jobs, everything. When he first started this whole industry working, he said the cat was there. So he was like, it's been his best friend for years, and it just hurts. My heart just goes out to him. So you can tell it really messed him up. And Lindsay didn't care. And I hated that she was there, because this is something else for her to use forever. Like, I was there when your cat died, huh? Well, you been? Oh, that was devastating. And Mark handled it. She keeps saying that Mark's life is out of control, and Mark is like, no, it's in control. The only thing out of control is you. Mark has had a grip on everything that's happened to him, except Lindsay. That's what he is like. What the fuck is going on here? They go out to where Lindsay's from. Well, not where she's from, where she likes to go to run away and hide. And she went to like somewhere in the woods, because she likes to go in nature, and she reads her letters she wrote to herself about growing up. And I don't believe shit she says. I think she's over exaggerating. And I think in her family, with her mother and her dad, I think in her family relationship, I think she is the problem. I think they're happy that she's fucking gone and don't talk to them. And all. I'm thinking they're okay with that. But she's like, they were such a problem. They were so negative. They did all this stuff and all these problems. I'm like, if it's anything like this, you were the problem. And you're deflecting it onto them. And I'm basing that just on her interaction with Mark. I think Mark's going to say no. Lindsay keeps threatening she's going to say no. And I'm hoping, and Mark is just hoping she's telling the truth, because he's sure as fuck is going to say no. What else happened? I don't even care what happened to them. It was a very boring episode. Nothing really happened. Nothing good, nothing bad. It was just steady. They're all in cruise control to decision day, which is, I think 2 weeks away. And decisions there will probably be broken down into 2 episodes. I'm ready for this show to be over. But hey, those are my thoughts. What are yours? Make sure you like, comment, subscribe. Let me know how you feel. Let me know what you think. And I'll catch y'all next episode, man. Hey, peace.